Hi, my name is Evan Archella, and I'm going to walk you through some tips and tricks for Microsoft Word 2010. This particular demonstration is for those of you who are Word 2003 users that are moving up to Word 2010. We're going to look at some features that are new to this particular version of Word, but we're also going to take a look at some of the things that were introduced in the Word 2007 release, as those of you on 2003 missed some of the important capabilities that were introduced along the way. We're going to look at this in a couple of different areas today. We're going to talk about bringing your ideas to life. So this is really about how do I take my document beyond just text and make it a much more interesting, more creative, more professional document. We're going to talk about working together more effectively. So this is kind of a collaboration idea. We'll look at ways that you can share documents, even work on them with other people in real time or pretty close to real time. And we'll also talk about anywhere access to your work. So how can I use Word on my PC, but also maybe be able to access my documents within the web browser or within my mobile device. Part of that we're going to look at is Word Web App. Word Web App is a browser-based version of Microsoft Word. It's part of the Office web apps that came out with the 2010 release. You'll also see these for Excel, for PowerPoint, and for OneNote. So we'll drive through a little bit of the Word Web App today, give you a sense of what it looks like and some of what you can begin to do with it. So again, we're going to dive into a demonstration of Word 2010. Those of you coming from Word 2003, you're going to see both features from 2007 as well as Word 2010. This is Microsoft Word, and you can see across the top here you have what we call the ribbon. The ribbon is the new interface in Office 2007 and then improved and kind of extended a little bit in 2010. What you see across the top here are a number of different tabs. These are command tabs, and if I was to click Insert, for example, you'd see a number of different commands that were related to inserting information within a document. So this is organized very much across what it is you're trying to accomplish within the document. So am I inserting something, for example? Am I trying to adjust the page layout? A lot of people ask me when they first see this, where's my spell check? Well, when you want to check spelling, what are you doing? Well, you're reviewing the document, and you can see here in the proofing group, each of these little sections here are called groups. You can see I have a spelling and grammar command, so it lives here on the review tab. If I go back to the Home tab, then you'll see kind of all of the traditional formatting type of commands that you would expect. So the ribbon is going to contain groups of commands, and within those groups are the individual commands related to those top level activities. A couple things I want to point out to you here. Some tabs will have what we call galleries, and you can see a gallery over here in the Styles area. Styles, for those of you who don't know, are just basically predefined formatting options, and within a gallery what you have is a visual representation of those styles. So I don't have to go through and look at very plain menus that have names of styles but don't really give me a sense of what that command is going to accomplish. With a gallery, like you see here for styles, it works well because if I was to hover over the different styles options, if you look at that first line of text in my document, you can see as I hover over these options, I get a live preview within the document of what that particular option is going to do for my document. Now in this case, that's the first line of text in my document, so I'm probably after something like a title. So if I want to put a title style in this document, I can go ahead and just click the title style, and let's just put our cursor down here in the second line of text, and I'm going to do the same thing with a subtitle. Go ahead and add a subtitle style to the document. Now these galleries here, you can see that's part of a command group. You can see different command groups here. If you're looking for commands that you're kind of used to seeing but you haven't been able to find them, if you'll click the little diagonal arrows that you see here at the bottom right of these groups, that will take you into what we call a dialog box, which you're probably familiar with from previous versions of Word. And in fact, that little arrow is called a dialog box launcher. And so if you want to get more in depth with some of these commands, you want to get into some of the more advanced options, you can use the dialog box launcher. That will open up in this interface here, and you can see that you have access to a lot of the commands that you were familiar with before. Go ahead and cancel that. I also want to show you a couple of other things as it relates to the interface here. On the View tab, you will see a box for something we call the navigation pane. The navigation pane used to be called the document map. The nice thing about it is it shows you, if you use styles like I was showing you with the title and the subtitle, you can see in my document here I have different styles that I've applied straight from that styles gallery. And when you apply those styles, you can see them here, they show up over here under your headings within the navigation pane. And so the nice thing about this is you can basically jump to any section in the document and you can review that information, but you also can rearrange your document simply by dragging the headings around within the navigation pane. So I'm going to move those financial predictions down here to the appendix just simply by dragging and dropping the heading down, and my document then is adjusted accordingly. You'll also notice here, let me just click on this chart. Notice the chart tools that came up here across the top. Chart tools, this one in particular, you'll see design, layout, and format. This is a command tab in the ribbon, just like we've seen before, but this one's a little bit different. We call this a contextual ribbon tab because it only shows up within the context in which I need it. So you'll notice that prior to clicking on this chart, I didn't see those tools. They weren't cluttering up my interface and they weren't distracting me from other things that I might want to do. It was only after I selected the chart that I had access to the chart tools. The same thing would apply with inserting information. If I didn't even have a chart within this document, if I went to the Insert tab, hit chart, then you would see the chart tools appear once I actually had the object within the document itself. You'll notice here if I click off, that contextual tab actually hides away until I need it again. So that's another example of how you can use the ribbon to get work done. Let's go up here to the navigation pane again for a second. I'm going to go over here to this other tab within the navigation pane, and this is part of the search functionality. So if I was to search my document for a particular keyword, I can just type it here within that search field, and you'll see I have all of these different results here within the navigation pane, but you can also see them highlighted over here within the context of the document. And if I click one of these, it basically takes me straight to that particular result. So pretty useful for when you're trying to find and locate information within the context of a document. You can use the navigation pane to do that as well. Go ahead and click the X here and we'll close out of that navigation pane. A couple of other things I want to point out. This is what we call the Quick Access toolbar, and it's designed for quick access. So you're going to see by default here your save, your undo, your redo, those things are going to be available for you. But you can also customize this. You can see I've added a couple things, quick print, spelling, and grammar. I just went ahead and put those straight up here on the quick access toolbar so that I could go ahead and work on that. Now, if you go in here to more commands, you can find other commands that you want to do here, and you'll also have the ability within the options of Word to customize the ribbon itself. So you can see here I have a tab called My Tab that I had actually created within the context of Word. And so once you get familiar with how the ribbon works, how the tabs work, you can go into to the options area of Word and you can actually create your own tabs and your own groups. And that's an extension of the ribbon that was added for Word 2010, for the other Office 2010 products as well. A couple of other things you need to know about. The file area here, this file tab basically takes you to what we call Backstage view. Backstage view is where you're going to have all of your document management tasks in one place. The default tab here is the Info tab. What you can see is things related to document permissions and sharing and things like that. You can see my properties over here on the right hand side. If I go to the New tab, you'll see you can look at different templates that you might want to create documents from. And one of the really helpful tabs here is the Print tab, because the Print tab now shows you not only your print options, but also a print layout view, print preview there on the right hand side, so you know exactly what that document is going to look like as you print it. And here in your options, you can see this area here is where you're going to go for customizing the ribbon, and you can also get to your quick access toolbar commands from there as well. The Help tab, this is a good place for those of you who are new to this interface, because from the Help tab you can click on Getting Started, that will take you out to the Office website. And there's a great link out here for finding commands in Office 2010. If you click that, it'll take you to a page where you can watch some videos about the interface, and you can launch what we call our interactive guides, which basically allow you to, in a simulated environment, click where you used to click in 2003, and it'll kind of show you where those commands live in 2010. So that's a very helpful tool for you to take advantage of. You'll also notice out here, if you do a search for OpenXML, that's the name of the new file formats for Office 2007 and 2010. And you'll see an article here for OpenXML formats and file name extensions. If you click that, you can learn about the new file formats. You can learn about some of the compatibility things that you need to know between the two. You can, in Word 2010, continue to open Word 2003 documents. So there's no issue there. But sharing back with folks, they do need to have what's called the compatibility pack to be able to open the new formats, or you need to downsave it for them into the 97 to 2003 format. So I won't go into a lot of detail here on that, but you can come out and learn about those. But just do know that there is a file format change between 2003 and 97, and not 97, 2007, and that was carried forward to 2010. Let's go ahead and close out of Internet Explorer, and you've kind of seen some ways we want to get started with the interface here. Let's do a little bit more work within this document. I want to talk about bringing your ideas to life. So how do we kind of move beyond text within the context of these documents? So one of the first things I want to show you is a feature called Smart Art. And you'll notice here I have a section called Keys to Success, and I've got a few bullet points here. And that's great to bullet things out. It makes it very clean when somebody's trying to read it. But sometimes you want your ideas to get across a little bit differently. So on the Insert tab here, I'm going to click on what we call Smart Art. And you'll see here I have a number of different diagrams that I can choose from. I'm going to use a relationship diagram here, and I just always kind of like this funnel diagram. So I'm going to select it. You can see a preview of it here. When I click OK, you'll notice now that I have a diagram within the context of my document. I didn't have to do any manually putting together and creating shapes and things like that. It's all just kind of done for me as a result of using that Smart Art. What I'm going to do here is just go ahead and type some text in here. So let's just put in products and service and value and then success here. And you can see now I add that information in, and I'm visually representing the ideas that I was talking about within my bulleted list there. If we put all these ingredients into the funnel, success is what's going to come out of the other end. And so it kind of gives you a sense of visually what we're talking about by putting it into a diagram form. Now you do have the opportunity of coming up here. You can see a contextual ribbon tab for the Smart Art tools. So if I wanted to change the colors here, let's just make this more colorful, for example. I can also drop down some different styles for this. So we have some 3D options here, so I could make the diagram have a little bit more of a 3D effect to it. And when I click off, you'll notice that those contextual tools go away, and I have a very nice looking diagram left behind within my document. Let's look at a couple of other things here. Let's just kind of page down to the next page. You can see I have an image here. We're talking about our global market. Now this is a picture of Prague, and I don't know that I want it to be specifically associated with Prague. I'm just kind of trying to show a global city here so people kind of get a sense of an international feel. So let's come up to the Format tab on the Picture tools. Here's a contextual command tab for pictures. You have a number of powerful tools that you can choose from here. What I'm going to do is actually crop this photo. So let's just kind of drag this down to one particular side and just kind of focus it in here on just this particular section of the city. When I hit crop, you can see that I've kind of reduced the size of that. I've focused exactly on what it is that I need to focus on. Now we also have a position gallery here. This is kind of interesting because as you want to place items around on the page, it's very easy with your text wrapping using this gallery just to simply click and have that image placed directly where you want it to be. You'll also notice under Picture Styles, here's a styles gallery for pictures. So this is predefined formatting for images. And you can see a number of different options here. I like the one that looks like a little Polaroid picture or a print that's been printed out and kind of laying on your desk type of look to it. But there are definitely other ones that you can certainly choose from. And if I click off, you'll see that those picture tools, they disappear as well, and I've got a very nice looking image now placed within the context of the document. Let's go down here a little bit further. You can see here I have a text box, and with Word 2010 you actually have text effects as well. So you think about like word art in the past where you created a word art image and you could kind of create some text effects that way. With Word 2010 you can actually now create text effects on any text that you type. It doesn't have to be created as word art. You can basically apply different types of effects to whatever it is that you happen to be doing. So I'm going to go ahead and click our text box here. Notice I have another contextual tool for drawing tools here, and I can go to that Format tab. You will see here a text effects drop down. It's in the word art area, so you can see you can just basically individually apply these different types of effects to whatever text that you're working in. So I'm going to put a little offset reflection here on the text within our text box. And you'll also notice these text effects commands on your Home tab as well, where you do all of your regular font formatting also. Okay, so we've done a few things here. We've put in a diagram, a smart art diagram. We have applied some picture effects. We used our picture tools to get an image looking more professional for this particular document. And we've looked at putting some effects on specific text that we've typed within the document. Now, all of these things were done kind of individually. One of the nice things about Office 2007 as well as 2010 is what we call themes. And if I come up here to the Page Layout tab, you'll see on the left-hand side here a drop-down for themes. Now, themes are basically collections of the three elements that you see here: colors, fonts, and effects. And so as you look at themes, what you have is a way within like one click to basically apply all three of those elements to a document. So if I was in my themes gallery here, I can hover and look at different types of themes that I might want to use, and when I find one that I like, I can just simply click that theme. This is the executive theme, for example, and you'll see that my fonts have changed to match the theme. You can see the color of the smart art here, and if I scroll all the way down to the bottom, you can see that chart that we moved down earlier also now kind of fits the look and feel of that theme. So colors, fonts, effects, themes are going to apply all of those at once to give you a unified look to your document. And the nice thing about it is these are Office themes. So I could then go into Excel or PowerPoint, other documents that I'm working on. I can apply the same theme to all of them, and they all have the same look and feel. So they would match for a particular project or presentation that I was doing. And you can create your own themes. You can also go out and download additional themes from the Office website as they become available. Let's look at a few other things here. I want to talk a little bit about working together more effectively, and let's just come back over here to Backstage View again. There's a few things I want to show you as it relates to working with other people. On the Info tab, you have some prepare options, and if I just click here where it says check for issues, you're going to see I have a few things like the document inspector. What this does is it basically looks at your document and finds if there's any hidden text or document properties, XML code, things like that you may not want in that document when you actually send it to someone else. You can look at that. You can also check compatibility. So am I sharing this with someone on an earlier version? What features are they not going to be able to access based on their particular version? So you can use this to get a better sense of what's happening with that document. You'll also notice a document protection option here. So if you want to encrypt this document with a password or restrict different types of editing within the document, you can do it here. You also have a very handy feature called Mark as Final. The thing about Mark as Final, if you just click that, it will save the document. It will automatically make it a read-only document. So it's been marked as final to discourage editing. And if I go over here to the Home tab, you'll actually see that the author has marked this document final, and you can see I have an Edit Anyway button. Alright, this is not a security feature. This is a capability that basically allows you to discourage editing, just like it says here. So if I mark it as read-only, somebody's not going to accidentally hit their keyboard or go in and start editing something thinking that it needs more work done to it. It says it's final, and that's great. Now if I was to hit Edit Anyway, it's going to let me start editing this document unless I had put in other types of editing restrictions within the document. You'll also notice that if I just go back in here and click Mark as Final again, it just turns that off. So it is a very good feature. I use it all the time just to let people know that that document's finished, and somebody can't drag across their keyboard or something like that and accidentally add things to the document. Just makes it read-only, lets everybody else know that it is in fact read-only. Now you have some other things you can choose from here. Under Save and Send, you will see the ability to create a PDF or an XPS document, and these are typically not editable. If I was to create that PDF, for example, it's going to actually allow me to put that name in. And notice it's a publish feature here. When I hit publish, it's going to publish that out as a PDF. That's just kind of the terminology that it uses. But you can see here now that document in PDF format. And I didn't really need anything extra to do it. It was built into Office, so I'm able to create those PDF or XPS documents directly from within that interface. Let's close out of the reader. I want to go back here into the File tab again and back into Save and Send. There's a couple of other things that you should be aware of, and we're going to kind of go into this here in just a second. With the Save and Send command here, you'll see something called Save to Web. So if you use Windows Live SkyDrive to store documents, that's a consumer-based document storage, but it does have what's called Office Web Apps built into it. And if you're using that for document storage, you can sign in right from here within the Office interface, and you can actually browse those folders. You can save your document straight out to those SkyDrive folders right from here. Likewise, in a corporate scenario, if you're running SharePoint, you can browse for SharePoint folders to be able to save your document into, and you'll also have access to the Office Web Apps within SharePoint 2010. So a couple of different ways to access that information. And that's what we're going to take a little bit of a look at right here. So let me switch gears here for just a second. I'm going to open up our document from an online location. So let's assume I had saved this either out to SkyDrive or to my SharePoint site, and I'm now coming back in and I'm opening the document from that internet location. That's where it lives now, and that's the document that we're going to work on going forward. A couple of things you need to know as it relates to working with documents that come from that type of a location. What you're going to see here is something we call Protected View. Protected View just basically lets you know, it's kind of right up here where that Mark is Final message was, lets you know that the file came from an internet location and it might be unsafe. And so now that you know that, you can determine on whether or not you want to actually edit that file. In this case I do. It's my file, and I'm going to enable the editing of that particular file. Now let me show you over here in the File tab. If you go over here to Options, and you'll see something called the Trust Center. Trust Center settings will take you to a place where you can see those protected view settings. So if you want to tweak those a little bit, you can find that information here. But it's on by default, and it's a good idea to leave it that way when you're working on documents from an internet location. The protected view, this is on an online site, and what you'll notice here is, as I'm sitting here, you can see that my coworker Sanjay Patel is now editing this document. Now this notification here is letting me know that I've entered a co-authoring scenario with Sanjay. With Word, you can co-author documents with other users. You can both actually be in the document working on it at the same time, whether it's in a SkyDrive folder or it's on a SharePoint 2010 site. If you've opened it up, both of you are working within the Word application on that centrally stored document. The other will be notified when you come in or out. Just as Sanjay has, I've been notified here and I know that we're both working on this file together. We don't have to wait in line to get into this file. We can do what we need to do at the same time. I'll close out of that notification and just show you down here. You can see two people are editing, and I can see who those people are. If I click Sanjay's name here, if you're running the Office Communicator and the instant message communication server on the back, what you have the opportunity to do here is to see presence information. So I can see Sanjay here, and I actually have some opportunities to communicate with him in some different ways. So we can actually be working on this document together and being in communication about it. Now, as I'm working on this, I know Sanjay's in the document, and you'll see when Sanjay actually starts editing something, I'm notified where he's working in the file. So I know he's in that area there. So while he's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and make a couple of changes here. So I'm going to change the word summary, for example, to overview, and you'll see now this is where I'm working within the document. So it's going to let him know the same thing, that I've actually started working in a particular section of the file. Now you'll notice here, if I hover over the save icon at the top, you'll notice that this is now it still says save, but there's a little revolving arrow that basically is telling me that this is more of a sync now. What's going to happen is it's going to push my changes to Sanjay. It's going to pull his changes through to me. And so when I actually click the save button, it refreshes those changes. And you can see it's making that notice to me here. And it's highlighting exactly what Sanjay was doing within the document. He changed the title of the document while we were working within this particular file. Now, everything I just did was on my own PC. I was actually pulling in using Word 2010 from an online location. So the document itself lived on the web somewhere, either on my SharePoint site or on SkyDrive, but I was using the full Word client to access it. You don't always have to do that. With the Office web apps, which you can see one here, you can actually work on this information within the context of your browser. So if I was on my SharePoint 2010 site, if I was in my SkyDrive folder, and I was to click on that document from within the browser, it's going to take me into what we call the read mode of the web app. You have two views in web apps, read and edit. This is read. In read, you see a full fidelity view of your document. So it's going to look exactly here like it did when I was working within the full Word client. So I can see all my diagrams, everything else that I've put into this particular file. You'll also notice here you do have a file tab. It's not quite Backstage view, but it does give you a number of different options for document management that you may want to use within this context. You'll also notice a find button. So kind of like in the navigation pane within Word, you can actually search for different search terms within the document here, and it does call out and highlight those different results within the document. Now, if this is something I needed to edit and I was not at my desk, well, this is what we're talking about, anywhere access to your work. So if I click Edit in Browser, you can see I now come into the edit mode of the web app, and here you see different tabs available to me. You can see kind of a familiar layout that we were used to looking at within the full Word client. Now, you're not going to have everything in here that you had in the full Word client, but you are going to be able to do a number of different things as it relates to text formatting, styles, inserting certain elements within the context of this particular document. So you can do some things there, and obviously you have the ability to type directly into your browser here. So if you want to start adding new text and formatting it within the context of this, you can. And you'll also notice here's Sanjay. He's still co-authoring this with me. So I'm in the browser now. This is co-authoring within the context of the web app. So if we're working on this file together, we're still notified that that co-authoring scenario is taking place. And again, if we needed to get into everything that Word has to offer, we're going to open up this file within Word. We'll come back here. You'll notice it goes back into that protected view because I need to let it know that I'm working on this from that I trust the source that this document is coming from, and we're able to get in and start working on this file again. So, Word 2010. What we're talking about here is bringing your ideas to life. So you saw me today edit this document. We looked at the new interface and how much easier it is to be able to access and look at the different capabilities and commands that Word offers you. And you can use those to bring in things like Smart Art, to make images look very professional, be able to tweak them and make them look exactly like you want them to look as they're representing the look and feel of your document. Text effects, working together more effectively. We talked about some of the aspects of preparing your document, protecting it, things like the mark as final, and being able to, most importantly, co-author that file in a shared location with folks within the Word 2010 client, or if you're using the web apps, being able to do it within the context of the browser. So you can co-author, you can edit on your own, and you do have the ability to see that document as it exists in real life using the read view and the full fidelity that comes with that. Now, you also have the opportunity to use Word Mobile 2010 to be able to read and make some changes to your document as well on a Windows phone. And all of these things work together to make this a very powerful experience for you. I'll give you just a few links here to take with you. Office 2010 Getting Started. This is going to take you basically to that same place you saw as we went from Backstage View in the Help area. If you want to use those interactive guides, this is a good place to learn about it. The Word homepage is going to give you the kind of the top 10 things of Word, some tips and tricks as they relate specifically to Word. You'll also find links for the Office web apps homepage and the Office mobile homepage if you want to learn a little bit more about how to take advantage of those technologies for anywhere access. I hope this has been a helpful demonstration for you, and I encourage you to check out some more of these links, and I wish you well in using Microsoft Word 2010. Thank you very much.